Imagine a rugged fishing village called Rockport, Massachusetts, perched on the edge of the Atlantic, where the horizon stretches endless, the air bites with salt, and weathered lobster traps stack high along the docks. Here, in a saltbox house with peeling blue paint and a slanted roof, Tom, Brennan and Lily, Hayes lived, their 30 years of marriage a sturdy ship, once seaworthy, now listing, until, at 54, in the raw chill of October 2022, they drifted apart. Not with a tempest of rage or a crash of waves, but with a slow parting, like a boat slipping its moorings, a moment where they stood in the living room, the fireplace spitting embers, and felt the tide pull them away. They'd raised a son, filled a home with the clatter of coastal life, and now, in the quiet, the hull was empty. He was a lobsterman, his hands thick with calluses, hauling traps from the cold depths. She was a baker, her fingers dusted with flour, kneading dough into loaves that warmed the town. By their early 50s, their ship had run aground, leaving only the creak of boards where voices once sailed. Picture this: two souls stepping off a sinking deck, into a world they'd forgotten how to chart. Tom with his ropes, Lily with her yeast, until, by 57, they forged new shores in the wild, briny glow of New England. Step back to 1991 and see them meeting on a foggy pier at Bearskin Neck, the ocean growling below, gulls wheeling through a sky heavy with mist. Tom, 24, stands by his skiff, his oilskin slick with spray, his red hair tangled from a morning wrestling traps, a thermos of chowder steaming in his grip. Lily, 24 too, leans against the crate, her apron streaked with cinnamon, her blonde hair pinned under a scarf, a tray of warm rolls cooling from her oven. Their eyes catch, his a piercing green, hers a soft gray, and he trudges over, boots squelching on wet wood, flashing a lopsided grin. They talk, about the waves crashing on granite, about his love for the sea's hard pull, about her joy in rising dough with the dawn. He trades a lobster for a roll, their hands brushing over the crust, and asks her to share a bench as the fog thickens, the harbor lights blurring gold. She nods, her laugh a bell over the surf, and says yes. A year later, in September 1992, they marry in a boathouse off Sandy Bay, his sweater patched, her dress a thrift find she spiced with lace, the air sharp with brine as friends toss clamshells. He promises to steer her course, she vows to feed his days. For decades they sail that pack strong. Here their son, Liam, crashed in like a nor'easter in 1994, a scrappy boy with Tom's wild hair and Lily's steady hands, racing through the house like a gust off the Cape. Tom swaps dawn halls for dusk lessons, showing Liam how to bait a trap, their breath fogging as the boat rocks, the sea slapping the bow. Lily kneads her dough, teaches Liam to roll biscuits, the kitchen a chaos of flour and giggles, the oven's heat cutting the chill. In 1996 they buy the Saltbox, a wind-battered shell with a stone hearth, a porch where gulls perch, and a window framing the ocean's gray churn. Tom builds a rack, his ropes and buoys dangling, the air thick with diesel and salt. Lily sets up her bakery nook, her loaves rising high, rye sourdough, her garden a patch of thyme and rosemary braving the wind. Picture summer dusk, Liam chasing crabs, Tom boiling lobster, Lily hanging nets that sway like curtains, the Atlantic a silver roar beyond. Money ebbs tight, storms splinter the shingles, but the house holds, a hull for their shared wake. Feel the drift begin. By their 40s the tide turns. Liam leaves for Boston in 2013, chasing marine biology, his room a hold of nets and shells, the silence seeping into the planks. The Saltbox grows still, the porch sags lonely, the hearth dim. Tom heads out earlier, his skiff slicing through dawn's swells, his voice a growl when he stomps home, oilskin dripping, rough catch. Lil sees a fight. She bakes longer, her shop downtown a haven, her chatter fading to murmurs as she slumps into a rocker. Busy day, Tom, folks want quick now. He tries, let's walk Pigeon Cove, hear the tide, or how about supper at Roy Moore's? But she shakes her head, too beat maybe tomorrow. They eat apart, him with a cold clam roll by the rack, her with bread in the nook, the garden ragged, their words drowned by the foghorn's moan. By 2020 he takes the loft, it's caught hard under a tarp, the window icing with a sea they can't ride. Since departing in October 2022, Tom's 54, his hands knotted like the ropes he pulls, his hair thinning under a knit cap. Lily's 54 too, her fingers stiff from years of dough, her gray eyes soft behind flour-dusted glasses. He's just hauled a trap, lobsters clacking in the crate, when he steps inside, boots shedding mud, and finds her by the hearth, shaping a loaf, her tea cold. "We're not sailing anymore," he says, his voice rough as the surf outside. She looks up, her dough still, her breath a puff in the chill. "I know, Tom, we're just adrift, aren't we?" He nods, slow as a wave breaking. "Yeah, Lil, we are. It's time to cut the line." They sit by the fire, its embers low, the wind rattling the panes, and agree, 30 years is a voyage done. No clash, no sobs, just a tide too weak to hold. They part with a grip, her hand warm on his, a last knot slip free. Watch the shores take shape. They sell the salt box, too heavy with wake, and split the cash even. Lily moves to a flat above her shop, a snug space with a slope ceiling, her oven humming by a window streaked with salt. Tom rents a shack near the wharf, a tin roof box with a plank floor, a chair facing the waves, a hook for his gear. Liam calls from Boston, "Dad, Mom, why now, what's sank?" They stumble. "It didn't sink, son, it just drifted off," they say. Friends split. Some stay with Lily, buying her buns, others meet Tom for beers at the Crow's Nest. The first year is a fog. Tom hauls in a haze, his traps full but his heart empty, nights spent rocking in that chair, the oceans slap a line he can't cast. Lily bakes in a blur, her loaves golden but her soul slack, evenings by her window, the mist of veil over a town she can't steer. They miss Liam's tromp, each other's rustle, the house is grown in a gale. See the trails forge in 2023. At 55, Tom joins a sailing club, a spark after a mate brags about the winds, his hands trading traps for tillers, cutting through Ipswich Bay. He lurches, his balance off from years on deck, but he steers on, hooked on the snap, the spray in his face, the sails billowing white. The crew is salty, retirees, a young sailor, a widow named Ruth who helms with a steady hand and a flask of rum. They meet weekends, tacking past rocks, the sun glinting off the waves, turns diving overhead. Tom buys a sloop, a scratched 20-footer with a blue hull, and sails solo one dawn, the harbor waking in gold as he rounds a buoy. It's not swift, but it flies, a shore carved anew. Lily, at 55, takes up surfing, renting a board from a shop on Cape and, her hands swapping dough for wax, riding the swells off Good Harbor. She wipes out, her arms shaky from years at an oven, but she paddles on, drawn to the rush, the cold bite on her skin, her first wave a wobbly ride to the sand. Feel them rise by 56. Tom sells his skiff, buys a bike, a gray Trek with a rack, and pedals the coast to Gloucester, his sails stowed, the wind sharp against his chest. He's not fast, cars pass, Ruth teases, but speed's not it. The ride is, the sea a new trap to haul. He starts a journal, lines and sails, scribbling about divorce, waves, and the lift of open water, his words steady as his old ropes. Mates read it, then strangers, folks in Salem, Newburyport, a guy in Maine saying, "I'm sailing too." Lily trades her van for a scooter, a green Vespa with a basket, and zips the shore to Rockport Harbor, her board strapped tight, the breeze cool on her face. She joins a pottery class, shaping clay into bowls, swirls, curves, her hands steady with a new grain. Liam visits Tom, sees the sloop, grins, "You're cruising, Dad." He sees Lily's bowl, hugs her, "You're rising, Mom." At 57, they blaze new shores. Tom cuts lobster runs, leads sailing trips, bays, tales, his voice deep, his oilskin wet with stories of tides. He sails to Plum Island one fall, drops anchor, wakes to a dawn that fires the sea pink, his bike a steed on the deck. Lily scales back the shop, surfs for joy, rides, dips, her pottery stacking up, sold beside her bread. She scoots to Halibut Point, carves a wave, the salt sharp on her tongue. They're not rich, his shack smells of brine and oil, her flat of yeast and glaze. They're not famed, His journal has 480 readers, her pots stay local. But they're Tom and Lily, bold, alive, wretched. They meet once, by chance at a dock in 2025, him with a sail tie, her with a clay mug. They smile, swap a yarn, part light, two shores freshly forged. Divorce at 54 set us adrift, they'd say now, their voices clear. It let us sail again freer. Picture America's coasts, Rockport's waves to every salty edge, where couples like Tom and Lily drift every day. Gray divorces aren't wrecks, they're wakes. I'm Jordan Lane, and this is Gray Divorce Diaries. Their tale is real, raw, rich, reborn. If it sails you, subscribe. Every day, a new story, people like us, forging after 50. You're not alone. Let's chart your course together.